This video will likely go against everything you know. You will hear many people say you need to do some cardio for health. They'll call it conditioning, they'll talk about zone 2 cardio, they'll talk about zone 4 cardio. What if I told you there was a ceiling where you max out the benefits? Would you believe me? Probably not. What if I told you there was evidence based on 120,000 people? In this video, I'm gonna go over a long-term study which looked at 120,000 people and give you the best possible advice when it comes to maximizing your health outcomes. You know, I actually used to be a firm believer in doing some cardio with resistance training. Like, for maximum health, you had to do cardio and just live an overall active lifestyle. I'm not saying that's not the case, but my thoughts and recommendations have taken a bit of a turn recently, mainly in response to this groundbreaking, what I would call it like a groundbreaking study. It's on 120,000 people over the course of 30 years. That's a very long time. And it basically looked at the impact of physical activity during leisure time on all-cause mortality. The study involved analyzing the records of 120,000 individuals across 3 decades. They were evaluated not only for their overall health, but for their leisure time activities, basically how much they moved when they weren't working. So you had moderate activities, think walking, gardening, and even lifting weights. And then you had vigorous activities like cycling, jogging, and like formal forms of cardio. The more active you are, the lower your risk of mortality was over those 30 years. Not really a shocker, right? But here's the kicker. It doesn't actually play out in a straight line. It's like a curve that levels off. The sweet spot seems to be around 2.5 to 5 hours of vigorous activity a week, or 5 to 10 hours of moderate activity. So imagine this, you go from a sedentary lifestyle, not doing any exercise, to 2.5 to 5 hours a week of heart pumping intense exercise, or just some moderate exercise for 5 to 10 hours a week. That includes resistance training. And then because of that, you reduce your chance of dying over the course of a 30-year period by up to 45%. That sounds pretty amazing, right? But here's the caveat. Once you go beyond this range, the benefits start to taper off. For example, if you go from 5 to 10 hours of moderate activity to 10 to 20 hours of moderate activity, you might get a 5% reduction in mortality risk. Now, the best part is you can actually mix this up. You can do a bit of each of them. But if you're getting enough moderate activity, so you're getting between 5 to 10 hours of moderate activity a week, doing some high intensity stuff is not really gonna do that much according to this study. So if you're doing resistance training 2 to 3 times a week, you're getting on average 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day. You're likely on the right track. And then adding in additional cardio may not give you any further health benefits. But if you wanted to do it, if you felt like you just feel better after it, or you like doing it, then obviously feel free. But you're not necessarily gonna get any health benefits from doing like more cardio. So just to summarize, like 60 to 90-minute sessions 3 times a week, then doing like 10,000 steps a day, so pushing up to 10,000 steps a day, you're likely gonna max out the health benefits of like physical activity. So doing that will help you optimize your health without extra cardio. Remember, there were some earlier studies suggesting that too much cardio combined with resistance training can actually have some negative effects. It's called the interference effect. So that's something also to bear in mind, but that's a topic for another day. But just remember that you don't have to do mountains of cardio on top of your resistance training. And this is why I always tell people, prioritize resistance training, because you get the best ROI with resistance training. So if you prioritize that, getting your steps, then you're covered. Like I said, what's the most you can get out of it? It's maybe an extra 5%, maybe not. So just remember, if you're doing that, you're going to be optimizing your health. And if you want to go after stuff like marathons, or you want to do the extra bike ride, that's completely fine. That's all I really wanted to cover. A short video. I thought this would actually be longer because it's quite an in-depth study. You can find all the details to the study below if you want to dive in deep and you want to criticize my video, or you just want to read for yourself. Any comments, as always, comment below. Any deeper questions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram @AdamScottFit. Have the best day ever, and we'll talk soon.